We may have solved one of the biggest Descendants mysteries yet. We've got some pretty compelling theories about Audrey's whereabouts during Descendants 2. Here's a hint. It has everything to do with her new transformation in Descendants 3. Watch until the end to find out what Audrey's master plan is and if she cooked it up alone.
What's the harm?
It's gateway magic.
The Sherwood Forest. Many fans noticed that Audrey didn't appear in the second Descendants movie, despite having been mentioned many times. While she was not physically present, she did call Chad charming right before the cotillion. The scene starts with Chad taking some liberties with the 3D printer in Carlos's room. He prints a fake crown and puts it on his head. Then he looks in the mirror and pretends he is talking to Audrey. He says that he hasn't chosen a queen yet. Then his phone rings. Chad completely freaks out when he sees that it's Audrey calling. Carlos walks in and catches Chad in the act of impersonating a king with the fake crown while scrambling to answer his phone. On the other end of the phone, Audrey tells Chad that she got a flat tire in the Sherwood Forest and she wants him to come fix it. Apparently the forest is pretty far away, 6 hours to be exact. Chad jumps at the chance to rescue his fair lady, but not before Carlos takes away his phony crown. So what was Audrey doing in Sherwood Forest? Disney's Robin Hood fans know that the Sherwood Forest is the place where Robin Hood and Little John live. It is located in Westerly, which is one of the 18 regions of Auradon. In the novel, Return to the Isle of the Lost, one of King Arthur's guards talks about a mysterious creature who nearly burned down the Sherwood Forest. Could that mysterious creature have been a dragon? Maybe Maleficent was causing trouble in the Sherwood Forest long before Audrey got there. So back to Audrey's trip to the Sherwood Forest. We know that everyone believed that Audrey went on a spa vacation with Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, or the fairies that helped Audrey's mother in Disney's Sleeping Beauty.
Audrey went off to a spa vacation with Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather.
But did she really go on a trip with the fairies to get facials and massages? Or was that a cover for the real reason she was in the Sherwood Forest? If Audrey had the help of the fairies, why would she need to call Chad Charming to rescue her when she got a flat tire? Maybe she was trying to lure Chad out there for some other reason. And maybe she made another stop before she headed to the forest to do her damsel in distress routine. That brings us to Descendants 3. Audrey's transformation. By now, every Descendants fan has probably seen the picture of Audrey with her new look. She's rocking pink hair and a distressed pink leather outfit. In the pictures, Audrey is holding Maleficent's staff, and she's also wearing the crown from the Museum of Cultural History. This wicked transformation has got everyone in the Descendants fanverse talking. While we are not sure about the details surrounding her transformation, we've got some pretty good ideas about where she went during the course of Descendants 2. And it's not just the Sherwood Forest. Audrey may have made a few stops on her way to becoming evil. The first stop wasn't the spa in Sherwood Forest. The first stop was to see someone who Audrey shares a common enemy with. But who could this person be? The Isle. One theory is that Audrey visited the Isle before heading to the Sherwood Forest to meet with a certain tentacled villain kid. Both Audrey and Uma have a common enemy. They both want to overthrow Mal and take what they believe is rightfully theirs. For Uma, that means taking over Auradon and destroying the barrier that keeps the villains on the Isle without the use of their magical powers. Audrey has a major score to settle with Mal. Mal's mom did curse Audrey's mom, a fact that Audrey was quick to point out when they first met in Descendants.
I totally do not blame you for your mother trying to kill my parents and stuff.
She had literally just stepped foot onto Auradon when Audrey brought up their unfortunate history. In addition to their dark past, Mal stole Audrey's love interest. She cast a love spell on Ben, turning his attention to her instead of Audrey. On top of that, Mal is in the line to take the crown with Ben, and Audrey wants that crown more than anything. So, Uma and Audrey have a lot of reasons to come together and destroy their common enemy. Audrey may have gone to the Isle to hatch an evil plan, and Audrey's new look could be from a visit to Dizzy's salon. But we don't think Dizzy was involved in the evil plot. She loves Mal too much to do anything to hurt her. Then after Audrey and Uma's meeting, Audrey could have agreed to steal Maleficent's scepter from the museum and use it to take down the barrier so that Uma and the other villains could be free. But then when Audrey got to the museum and saw the crown, she decided she had to have it. So she took that as well. Then for some unknown reason, Audrey went to the Sherwood Forest with the crown and scepter. She lured Chad out there to help her carry out whatever nefarious plot she cooked up. From the trailers and pictures, it looks like Audrey is in the forest with the scepter. We've seen the shots of Chad next to Audrey looking scared out of his mind. But what is he afraid of? Hades. In the very first Descendants 3 trailer, Mal is walking through a forest. She walks up to that glowing blue orb. It's whispering her name. She thinks it sounds like her dad.
Dad?
When she goes to touch it, the blue flame flares up and startles her. So, is this the spirit of Hades? We're not sure yet if Hades is good or evil, but for this theory, let's assume he is up to no good. It makes sense that after Audrey met with Uma and stole the scepter, she would go to the forest and find Hades. Maybe she is planning to use the scepter to somehow free Hades from the glowing orb. He must have a major part to play in Audrey and Uma's plan. If they free Hades, maybe he can help them take over Auradon. The mystery trailer says that Hades' ember is even more powerful than Maleficent's scepter. So maybe Audrey enlists the help of Hades and his blue ember somehow. We see in the trailer that Uma is holding the blue ember. Maybe Audrey and Uma steal the ember from Hades. We thought that it was Hades who drains Mal's magic with the ember, but maybe it's actually Uma. Mal is going to have to face some formidable opponents in D3. We're pretty sure Audrey is one of those opponents. Celia Facilier. YouTuber Alice Bunny believes that Celia Facilier has a major hand in turning Audrey evil. She believes that Celia used Audrey's anger and fear to turn her into a wicked villain with the help of Maleficent's scepter. In previous trailers, Celia seems like she is helping Mal, but in the mystery trailer, Celia has a menacing look on her face and an evil laugh to go with it. Alice Bunny points to the scene in which Celia is in the back of the room holding Dude the dog, while the armored guards take their fighting stance. Those are the same guards who are fighting Mal, Uma, and their crews. So does Celia command these guards? Celia also has her own shadow cards, similar to those which were used by her dad, Dr. Facilier, to get power over others by manipulating their weaknesses.
Just look at this place.
It's possible that Celia is just like her father and is controlling everyone with voodoo magic. We've mentioned before that it is possible that Celia is pretending to be Mal's friend, but she is really trying to trick her. Maybe the same was true with Audrey. It's likely that Celia was able to use the shadow cards to show Audrey who she really wants to be. Who is the person she is most jealous of? Mal, of course. So Celia turns Audrey evil so she will do her bidding. Fans believe that Audrey will be the victim of the sleep spell that knocks everyone out within the kingdom. Once Celia and her dad use Audrey, they will put her to sleep and take over Auradon. Maybe Queen Leah made a deal with Hades to get Audrey back, so that's why we see him looming over her bed waving the blue ember. That would mean that the villain kids will have to team up to stop Celia and Dr. Facilier. This would make for an epic battle. It's hard to tell if Uma and her crew are on Mal's side, or just tolerating her so they can fight a common enemy. It seems highly unlikely that Uma would suddenly be friends with Mal, considering their history, but if the enemy is powerful enough, they may have no choice but to put their differences aside to save Auradon and the people on the Isle. Mental breakdown. After all the crazy stuff that happened in the first Descendants movie, it's quite possible Audrey had a mental breakdown. She was under a lot of stress dealing with Maleficent's daughter being at her school. Remember that scene at Family Day? Audrey's grandmother meets Al, and for a second she believes that Mal is actually Maleficent and that she hasn't aged.
And how have you stayed so young?
When Queen Leah discovers that she's Maleficent's daughter, she doesn't take it very well. Things get way out of hand. Queen Leah is very upset. Then Chad steps in and accuses Mal and her friends of being evil. He calls Mal a boyfriend stealer. He then calls Evie a gold digger and a cheater. Evie takes out her mirror and says the phrase, "Mirror, mirror in my hand, who's the biggest jerk in the land?" Then she holds out the mirror to display Chad's reflection. Chad tries to take the mirror and Jay steps in to fight him off. Things escalate quickly, so Evie pulls out her magic sleep potion and sprays Chad in the face, making him fall asleep. This must have been super triggering for Audrey and her grandmother, given their family history of being cursed with sleep spells. If you think about it, Audrey wouldn't have existed at all if Maleficent had it her way. And while Audrey is seen in the final dance number smiling and dancing with Jay, it may have been too much for her to handle. Could Audrey's transformation be the result of a mental breakdown that made her turn evil? That cottage Audrey stands in front of in the trailer could be a mental health facility. Celebrity rehab centers are usually in the forest or some other quiet, natural location. This could have pushed her grandmother, Queen Leah, over the edge too, which leads us to the next piece of the puzzle. Queen Leah. Looking back on that encounter between Mal and Queen Leah, it's clear that there is still a lot of bad blood between Audrey and Mal's family. At first, Queen Leah is having a lovely chat with Mal before she knows who Mal is. Then Audrey comes up to tell her grandmother that she shouldn't talk to Mal
Unless you feel like taking another 100-year nap.
At first, Queen Leah is confused. She thinks Mal is Maleficent and has found a way to stay young. Then steps in and tells Audrey's grandmother that Maleficent is still on the Isle and that she is actually talking to Mal, Maleficent's Maleficent's daughter. Ben reminds Grammy that he made a proclamation to give the new generation of villain kids a chance. Queen Leah says he has given the villain kids a chance to destroy Auradon. She reminds everyone about the poison apples and the spells. She tells Mal that her daughter was raised by fairies because of her mother's curse. She laments at how she never got to hear Aurora's first words or see her walk for the first time because of Maleficent. Clearly, Queen Leah still has some healing to do. When you harbor a grudge like that for so long, it eats away at you. It can turn you into a spiteful person who only wants to get revenge. So it's possible that Audrey and her grandmother teamed up to get even with Mal for her mother's crimes against their family. Maybe Queen Leah is with Audrey in the Sherwood Forest plotting their revenge. While we don't know for sure yet where Audrey really was during Descendants 2, it's fun to imagine her course on the path of evil. What do you think happened to Audrey? If you think she and her grandmother turned evil to get revenge on Mal, leave a crown emoji in the comments. If you love Descendants theories as much as we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up. Thanks for watching The Things. We'll see you soon!